To be joined by Senator Klobuchar, our ranking member on agriculture, and Senator Luján, our ranking member on the subcommittee dealing with SNAP. So look, right now we're staring down the barrel at two crises at once, a health care crisis and a hunger crisis, and both are caused by one man, Donald Trump. We're now 3 days from open enrollment. Today the window shopping begins. People are going to see drastic increases in their health care costs. People are going to sit at the dinner table Friday night with a hole in the pit of their stomach and saying, how are we going to do this? We can't afford another $4,000 or $5,000 a year, $10,000, even $20,000 in some cases for health care. How are we going to do without health care, but how are we going to pay for health care? And now, for the first time in history, a president, Donald Trump, is refusing to fund SNAP during a shutdown. 42 million Americans, hungry children, middle-class families someone's lost the job, veterans, senior citizens who struggle to pay for their food. All of these people will lose their SNAP benefits, not because the money's gone, not because it's not permitted, because Donald Trump ordered it stopped. Donald Trump is a vindictive politician and a heartless man. Let's be clear, this does not need to happen. Never before, under any president, Democrat or Republican, has SNAP been cut off in a shutdown, and Trump knows he can do it. Here's what he said. Yeah, everybody is going to be in good shape. Yup. Donald Trump, when asked if he would fund SNAP next month. That's what he said this October. But then all of a sudden, seeing how badly they're losing on health care, he decided to use these 42 million innocent Americans as pawns. Back in 2016, here's Sonny Perdue, the agriculture secretary. They funded it under Trump. In the last shutdown, rather 2019, January 8th, 2019. They funded it. So don't believe the bull, and I hope in every story you will write that they can fund it on their own. And I'll tell you something else. John Thune is responsible. The Holley bill now has 11 Republican co-sponsors and many, many Democrats, including myself, Senator Klobuchar, and Senator Luján. We have all co-sponsored the Holley bill. Today, tomorrow, if John Thune would put it on the floor, it would pass overwhelmingly. But he's afraid of Trump. He's going along in this heartless, cruel thing with Trump. Just a few weeks ago, Trump's own U.S. Department of Agriculture confirmed it had $6 billion in emergency funding to keep food aid flowing. When asked about SNAP at that point, here's what he said. Yep, everybody's going to be in good shape. That means he's got the money, folks. And these Republican lies, plain and simple, that they don't have the money, are lies. But they're vicious lies. They're hurtful lies. They're harmful lies. Okay? Last Friday, all of a sudden, Trump ordered that the USDA delete the plan and refuse to use the money. No reason, no explanation, plain cruelty. Cruelty that even Trump back in 2019 didn't do, but he's gotten so much worse and so much meaner and so much more desperate because he knows the American people are turning against him on health care and, as Amy will mention a little later, on SNAP as well. So Trump is weaponizing hunger. He's turning millions of children and seniors and veterans into political pawns. He's choosing politics over people, cruelty over compassion. And let's be clear about this. They've been on a crusade. The Republicans have been on a crusade against SNAP all year. They slashed it by $200 billion this summer to pay for their tax cuts for billionaires. So they've never wanted SNAP, and they don't want it now. But as again, they're using these 40 million innocent people as pawns. It's a disgrace. They can end it right now. Amy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Leader, and thank you to Senator Luján for leading a very important bill which would restore...
Okay, I'm going to have to vote. I'll be right back.
Okay, thanks. Okay, now we're say whatever we want here. So. That could, yeah, there we are. A very important bill that would restore the SNAP funding, and that bill, like the Holley bill, as we could pass right now. Senator Luján's bill that I'm co-sponsoring with him, he's the lead of the Subcommittee on Agriculture, actually includes WIC as well, so I'm partial to it. But the point is that both bills we're supportive of. And so Senator Thune should call these bills up. He should call both of them up immediately, and as Senator Schumer said, they would pass. So that's why this is such a false crisis. Why is it actually a crisis? Because the House isn't here. So if we pass the bill because they're afraid to vote on the Epstein files, it will sit over in the Halloween candy jar of Speaker Johnson, where, by the way, the candy is 10% more expensive because of the Trump tariffs. Secondly, that money, as Senator Schumer has explained, is there. There is $6 billion with a B, dollars that are set aside in a contingency fund for things like this. And one of the things that really bothers me about this is that they clearly knew that this could happen, and they actually had on their website, and I know many of you have seen this, a plan that was not issued under the Biden administration. It was issued under the Trump administration, and we screenshot it, so we have it. No one denied that it was out there. It's now magically disappeared like the East Wing. And it says this. It says, the receipts were these. This plan said, congressional intent is evident, congressional intent, that SNAP's operations should continue during a shutdown, and multi-year contingency funds are also available to fund participant benefits in the event that a lapse occurs. So there it is. We would call that a smoking gun in my old job as a prosecutor. They had it on their own website. They took it down at the administration's direction. So they have the money there, or they can fund it through legislation. So let's just make that clear. Then let's go to the second question. Why are they doing this now? I guess we could ask the same question. Why did Trump pardon George Santos when a lot of people in the Republican side in the House never would have wanted that to happen? Why did he suddenly ask for $230 million from the Justice Department? Why did he say he was going to run a third term and then back down? Steve Bannon put it out there. Why are all these things happening? Dominate the news every single day. Well, they think they can fool the American people. They're seeing their premium increases now. No matter how many things they throw out there, no matter how many families they threaten to starve, the fact is the premium notices November 1st is a date. It's not a December thing. It's not a January thing. It's a now thing. And when you, as we have done in going into a number of red states, Senator Kaine and I did a press call yesterday in Texas, 75% of the people, 75% of the people who are on the Affordable Care Act live in states that Donald Trump won. And they may not be in this building today. They may not be the people that you all talk to when you're walking around the hallways and see what people think about what's happening right now in America. But the people out there, they know their costs are up, they know that chaos is up, they know that corruption is up. And healthcare is the major driver of their costs, but you add in their garden equipment, tools, audio equipment, these numbers are skyrocketing right now because of the Trump tariffs and because of the inability to even come to the table to talk about healthcare with us. He's off flying around, meeting with all these foreign leaders, negotiating with them, doing photo ops, while we're here in this building waiting for him to call up our leaders to go and negotiate on this, the thing that is the number one thing on Americans' minds, and that is their costs and the cost of their health care. So I turn it over to Ben Ray.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much.
Did she say anything I wouldn't like? Anybody?
There we go. There we are.
Look, you all, I appreciate this room being full. I'm getting a chance to visit with you in the hallways, but also here. I mean, this shows the interest here. I'm going to repeat something Senator Schumer shared, and it goes to Secretary Perdue. This funding for SNAP has never lapsed in the history of the United States. Last shutdown under President Trump. They found a way to use this money. As a matter of fact, the contingency fund this year was already utilized to pay for staff for SNAP. They already tapped it once. And that plan that Senator Klobuchar talked about, here it is. Why would this magically disappear from the website? And why Speaker Johnson lying to the American people saying, oh, the law does not allow for this to happen? It's bullshit. I'll say it. I come from a small farm. I know the difference of good soil and the bullshit that goes in it, and this is the bullshit. Taking these plans down to try to lie to the American people and justify why it's okay for people to go hungry. 40 million people, plain and simple. 40 million people that are going to miss a meal in the United States of America. And I want to commend every one of my Democratic colleagues that is a co-sponsor of this legislation, and many of us that are co-sponsors of Senator Holley's legislation, including all of my Republican colleagues. I was asked a question earlier today by one of the journalists about, what's getting in the way of this? Well, President Donald Trump, Secretary Rowlands, and now Leader Thune. He's not allowing a vote on a floor that has bipartisan support, and heck, it could just be a UC. Which Republican's going to stand up and object to their constituents eating? And by the way, while New Mexico is at the top of the list of states that will be impacted per capita of SNAP beneficiaries, Louisiana's in the top 5. Third. I'll remind you the state that the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives is from. I hope his constituents find him. I hope the Republican colleagues, I think Leader Schumer, you shared with us, it's 75 now. 75 House Republicans that have told the press something has to be done to prevent health insurance premiums from doubling. They should come to Washington, D.C. They don't need to wait for the Speaker to invite them. Come down here. Let's get together. If the Speaker doesn't want to get in a room, how about the rest of us get in a room? I'll close with this. Chuck, as I turn this back to you. We had a governor from New Mexico, Bruce King, cattle rancher. And he always used to tell folks, if you can't come up with a solution, sometimes you need to lock them up in a barn until they come up with the solution. Well, Mr. President, come back from jetting around the world, get back to the White House. President Trump said it's up to a president to prevent a shutdown. He said it does not bode well for presidents if there's a shutdown. Well, come on back. Bring everyone back. Let's get this done. But in the meantime, all that needs to happen is for Secretary Rowlands to say, no, we're going to use this fund. We're going to pay people food. Or we're going to pay for this program to get people food. It can happen right now. There doesn't even need to be a vote. But if they want to vote, bring one of these bills up. I'm confident it'll pass the Senate floor. Maybe that'll force House Republicans to come back.
Okay, questions on this subject first. Yes.
You've said that there are legislative solutions. Obviously, you said that the administration should cap the contingency fund. But come the weekend, if SNAP does run out, tens of millions of Americans will go hungry. Are you getting a sense from your Democratic colleagues that the pain of that and other aspects of the shutdown might outweigh this fight?
My Democratic colleagues are united in the fact that Trump and the administration can do this, not this weekend, tomorrow, today, right away. Every Democrat is a sponsor of Luján's bill, and that's how we feel. Yes.
Thank you so much. Irrespective of the dispute on whether USDA contingency funds can be used for SNAP benefits.
It is not, wait a minute, excuse me. It is not a dispute. It is fact they can use it, and the Republicans say it.
Okay, but there's, only $5 or $6 billion, and it's not cost $8 billion monthly just to administer. I mean, if anything, it would only last.
It does not cost $5 or $6 billion to administer. There's enough money to start feeding people right away. $6 billion's a lot of money, and they're using it for other things. $20 billion for Argentina, hundreds of millions for Kristi Noem's plane. Who are we kidding here? Yes.
What happens once it runs out? If it only lasts 2-3 weeks, do Democrats fold then?
The bottom line is they can fund it just as in 2019, just as in other shutdowns, for a long period of time.
And they also, if
Go
the
ahead.
contingency fund, which is $6 billion, which gets you nearly a month, 3 weeks, runs out, then they can pass Senator Luján or Senator Holley's bill, both of which we support. We know that there'll be 60 votes for that. Why aren't they calling it up? They're not calling it up because the House isn't here to pass it. That's the way it works. The House would have to come here. They probably would have to vote on the Epstein files, but they're choosing to let kids go hungry instead of having to vote on the Epstein files. There's no doubt about it. They have been out for 6 weeks on vacation.
Just think, if they have all this money for Argentina and all this money for other things, they have enough money to keep funding SNAP, and they know it. And I just want to say what Luján said. Johnson just lies. He lied about on immigration, on the undocumented. He's lying about this. He just outright lies, plain and simple. It is not illegal, and his own president has done it. Yes.
Are talks ticking up as Boone indicated? Is there any conversation, any negotiation whatsoever happening behind the scenes? And if so, can you enlighten us on
Yeah, there are occasional talks between Democrats and Republicans on this issue, but our Republican colleagues don't seem to be offering anything different than what their leadership has had so far. We hope that will change. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Understanding what you're saying about Republicans' options here for SNAP and the contingency funds, are you saying Democrats have no responsibility for the fact that
We are saying the Republicans can fund it now, and they're using these people as hostages. Plain and simple. Next. That's the answer. The answer is they can fund it right now. Okay? Right now.
On SNAP and on healthcare broadly.
And by the way, we don't want to pit health care and food. They do. We think you can have both. Yes.
On SNAP and on the ACA, Leader Spoon said yesterday he had just spoken to President Trump and that the president would be willing to sit down with you next week to talk about ACA subsidies. Is that an acceptable offer for you? If the government opens, by the way, is that an acceptable offer for you?
We've always said, they always say, do it later. Do it later. Later, to quote Martin Luther King Jr. in his letter from the Birmingham jail, means never. They have had since March to do this. They've voted 3 times against it. So this idea, do it later, been there, done that. We have to do it now. The window opens. Thank you, everybody. On this subject? Look, the bottom line is very simple. I have a good relationship with him, and we're continuing to talk.
The vote is on Tuesday. What are you going to do?
Pretty close. You live through crazy days, sir. Time to do this.